Sky Mumbai. Mumbai, a city of dreams, has one of the largest and the most complex real estate markets in the world. From new developments, redevelopments, and transformational infrastructure projects, the skyline of Mumbai is being reimagined. Hi, I am Professor Rahul Mehta. I head the Industry Institute Connect and Placements for Thakur Global Business School. I am joined by two prominent entities from the industry, Mr. Amiet Padam, Cluster Head of Kalpatru, and Ms. Deepti Nair, Head of Marketing from the Arkade Group. Welcome, sir. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
So, when we begin this particular discussion on the real estate market, the first thing that comes to the mind is, here, has the real estate market changed in the last 2 to 3 years? Any transition that you feel has happened in terms of maybe buying, in terms of the experiences that we get, in terms of the overall market that has changed post-COVID? So, Ms. Deepti Nair, I would give you the first chance to answer the question.
Thank you very much. And let me start by saying thank you for this opportunity. It's a great platform that allows us to share our experiences. So you're absolutely right. There has been a colossal amount of change that's happened since COVID. There is now, when we speak about our marketing strategies, there's something what we used to do pre-COVID and what we do now. So traditionally, what used to work may or may not actually be working. So post-COVID, I think people have understood the essential requirement of having a home, where earlier they were possibly deferring that decision making. People are getting into larger spaces. People want to have a good outdoor space, because when you get confined, there actually is a lot of friction that happens. So when you have a space like something as small as a garden, it is an amenity where people can go down. Today, all developers do provide for, and like a work from home kind of a space in their projects. Right. All of these amenities, which possibly were taken for granted or were not considered into decision making, today play a very important role. So larger home spaces, better ground amenities, all of those nuances are very critical in today's decision making for today's buyer. Right. Very evolved buyer.
So essentially you're saying the offering, the product that has been put forth to the customer has changed.
It has changed. The decision making has changed. People are getting extremely, specific about their requirements. So that catering is also similarly changed.
So from the customer, Amiet, I come to you. The overall market, can you share some insights into, some of the data points that real estate has seen over the last 3 to 5 years?
Yes, absolutely. It is very important for us to understand what real estate in terms of numbers are. So as we were just having a discussion just a while ago. So real estate as an industry, what we saw pre-COVID, post-COVID. So as of last calendar year, which is your 25, which is at 585 USD billion, right? Okay. Now you see a lot of scope happening, or growth of scope happening in the real estate segment. When I say lot of scope, the data says, or the study says, by 2031, so this particular sector will increase at a CAGR of 9.6%. Okay. And which is, if in numbers, if I have to quote, which will be USD 927. Now, after agriculture, real estate is the second most employment generation sector. Right?
Awesome.
So that's second. Third, in terms of what drastically have changed, or maybe as Ms. Nair mentioned, I would quote, a conscious consumerism have that concept has evolved. People are thinking of more of a wellness now. People want to be staying nearby to your residence. Now time is a luxury. Time is of essence, right? People want to, because of infrastructure happening now, if you see in Bombay, right. So there are a lot of infrastructure which has helped to increase the price, and also in terms of the project demand have also increased because of the infrastructure development. Right. Now to top it up with, again, the numbers are, your 30-40 lakh rupees segment has seen a tremendous drop in last 5 years. Okay. Now what does this mean is, people are investing more in larger apartments, because COVID has helped to realize the importance of larger space. As again, Indian culture is more of a, joint family concept.
Right.
But from last 1.5 decade or 2 decade, we are seeing that nuclear family concept is coming into a picture.
Right.
So that is where when nuclear family come into picture, two brothers getting separated, still love, affection is there, but two homes are probably transactions are happening.
Right.
So this is exactly the concept which will keep on carrying on. Now, again, 400, 450 carpet a decade ago was the 70% of the business was driven for this particular size,
Right.
sub 500 your square feet size. Now that 500 carpet has increased to more 50%, which is 750 or 800 carpet is the ideal for a 2-bed.
Right.
So that is where the demand and need is. Now, out of 927 USD billion, which we see anticipate by 2031, 70% is residential.
Wow.
And 11% is your commercial. Commercial is growing at 10.5 CAGR,
Right.
and out of that 70%, 72% is sales,
Okay.
residential. So these numbers back or validate the demand of real estate. And yes, as I mentioned, conscious consumerism. So people want to invest again, their mind, body, soul. So they want sustainability.
Right.
They want to invest in green buildings, buildings which has solar, energy saving, efficient savings. Because see, if we relate to ourselves, before COVID and after COVID, we also have become very health conscious now.
Right.
Conscious consumerism. So we always see what are the ingredients, whether the trans fat is there or not there, because all thanks to COVID.
Right.
So the COVID have educated a lot of us in terms of real estate investment to health and everything.
Right.
So that is where the change is happening, and which is for good.
Right. Thank you. So here 927 billion, 9.2% CAGR, and also the mindset of the customer changing. Brings an interesting question to you, Ms. Deepti. Marathi Manos, Parsi community, Gujarati, Marwadi, Bengali, North Indian, South Indian, some of the world richest and famous staying in Mumbai, celebrity icons, and the largest middle class population. I'm really keen to understand. There's a challenge in front of marketing as to how do you segment such a diverse portfolio of, how do you position and segment this diverse customer base that you have for real estate?
I think this is every marketer's challenge in terms of understanding who exactly is your TG. And once you've identified that, I think, where do I find them to communicate with them, and then to get them to connect with that this is the right product. So for example, to create a demand for the product, that is extremely essential from a marketer standpoint. So when you actually, today marketing is not essentially how it was, at least in real estate, what it was possibly 7, 8, 10 years back, as merely coordinators, and everything being outsourced to agencies, and they would make a pitch, a beautiful ad, everything is very, very superlative, everything is luxury. That has kind of transitioned away. Today marketers are extremely important to understand what is right from a new product development. Marketers are a part with the architectural team, right with the business development, from the acquisition, how you're going to buy the product, especially if you look at it from a redevelopment or a greenfield project, what you're going to make, and then what is going to be in terms of the area. Like you said, today's sweet spot for a 2 BHK is about 750 to 800, a 3 BHK possibly about 1200 sits well.
Right.
If you have today people entertain a lot. So if you have a nice guest room for somebody for an overnight stay. So all of these understanding customer nuances. So you're a part of the core team for product development. And once you understand that, who you're catering to. So it could be segmentation in the form of, let's say, cultural segmentation. So the entire Gujarati, Marwadi, Parsi community segmentation, then getting into understanding what is the lifestyle segmentation. So you understand whether your consumer, where is the consumer base? Typically real estate is, you'll always start with a 5-kilometer radius. Okay. Your peak consumers will come in there, and they'll come in early. They'll be the early adopters of your product. And then you will tend to, in concentric, kind of expand. You may also then see how your product helps with the NRIs, because that's a very important, target audience today. Because, see, global volatility, we all have been reading about, and I think it's nearly 12 months now that we're seeing so much of turmoil. There is no stability that we're seeing over there. So how do you ensure that capitalize is the word I want to use? on that fear of the consumer and tell them to always have a steady base back at home.
Right.
So all these aspects allow you to actually create a customer persona that will help you communicate with them and create. So when you look at it from a marketer's perspective and product development, you're looking at essentially what we call as USP, a unique selling proposition. But for a marketer, it's important to understand the customer psyche. So a customer is not buying because you have a unique selling proposition. I feel a customer is buying for his unique buying proposition.
Okay.
So to understand why he is buying a product is extremely important. So marketers is not a desk job. You need to go out there, meet the consumers, understand their perspective, and then keep, evolving your communication and creating, if not this product, the next product. Or today developments happen phase-wise. So then it allows you for a little bit of, adaptations in the newer towers or newer projects.
Yeah. So fantastic here. I mean, the unique buyer proposition is something that we need to understand, whereas in the traditional market, it was more of the USP that we are talking of. So great. So when we talk of unique buyer proposition, Amiet, here we are seeing a lot of different kinds of projects that are happening, right? You have new developments, you have SRAs, you have redevelopments, you have infrastructure developments. What is important for the customer buying proposition? Is it the brand they're getting associated with? Or is it actually the project that is being developed?
I would say to begin with, brand, yes. So brand plays a very vital role in terms of the trust, loyalty.
Okay.
Because brand will communicate or probably give that assurance of quality is not compromised. So brand is very important.
Okay.
There is a legacy, the history that can be seen, the multiple projects which I have seen. So brand is must. B, I would say location. Yes, location is of utmost important now because considering people travel from western part of Bombay to South Bombay because that is where the business hubs originally were. Like Nariman Point,
Right.
I'm talking about 2.5 decade. Nariman Point was the only hub. Then in 2000 or mid of 2000, BKC evolved as the second business hub.
Right.
Then Andheri again in mid of 2000 was the third business hub.
Right.
We are seeing that development in Oshiwara, your ODC and Borivali and the Navi Mumbai parts of the Bombay.
Right.
Now, people are also okay to migrate to different location because they have to save time. In last 4-5 years, if you see in Bombay, there are major developments which are happening. One, A coastal road, which is connecting south to north now up till Bandra, which has saved a lot of time. So with brand, location, yes, B, and C is in terms of saving the time because now time is a luxury to everyone. Right. So luxury is probably the definition of luxury is different for everyone, but time is very important because people want to save on the time.
Right.
So that is where the demand is coming because infrastructure story is there in Bombay now. So the moment that infrastructure development happens, right, then you will see people migrating from say north to south, like from Borivali, Kandivali, you see people are migrating towards south of Bombay.
Right.
So eventually that will not happen and the demand for that particular area will keep on increasing.
Right.
Only because of the connectivity infrastructure.
Right.
So as mentioned, brand, location plays a very important role. Infrastructure is boosting this demand now.
Correct. An example would be the new airport which has come up in Navi Mumbai.
Absolutely, because again, Navi Mumbai, we have an international airport which is in the middle of the city, right?
Right.
So whenever you travel towards South Bombay, so you'll always see that road is jam packed. However, there are multiple bridges which are constructed, but still it is jam packed. The need of an hour was to have an international airport which is out of Bombay. If you see any top countries or any good states, right, they have airport which is outside the city zone. Right. So we had that in the city, right? So you see Navi Mumbai developing a lot. You see Panvel as a location, getting evolved now.
Right.
We used to consider Panvel or maybe Alibag or Karjat kind of a second home concept.
Right.
Now that concept is getting changed, all because of that infrastructure development.
Right.
So that is boosting the demand for the real estate.
Right. So Deepti, does this pose a challenge to you in terms of a marketing professional, where you're having on one hand the brand of the company, and the other hand you have the projects which need to be marketed? Okay, so location wise, Navi Mumbai, you might have a project and you have the entire brand of the company, the Arkade group, also to be marketed. How different are these two things?
So taking off from what my colleague said, actually, real estate is a lot about location, location, and location. So if I remember, I think Nair was announced maybe about 15 years back, give or take. And since then, real estate marketers have been communicating that and selling development, which actually took, went live maybe 4 years back. So that is the power of infrastructure, and that is the power of location. And today you have all good brands flocking in over there to create developments. And to be honest, when it comes to marketing a product or marketing a brand, it would never really be in silos, because at the end of it, real estate to a large extent is like a house of brands, because you have your projects. Most developers have the brand name preceding, their project name. So, for example, it is like an Arkade Rare or an Arkade, Vistas. So that kind of helps to reiterate that this belongs to the brand name.
Okay.
Yes. So in that sense, the connect builds. When you're communicating, so brand communication continues because the promise continues in the delivery of the project as well. So they all understand that the product is going to be having the basic values, principles, and the merits of the brand. So it just seamlessly is connected and interrelated.
Right. So the promise of the brand continues with the project. So fantastic here, Deepti. And when I say, I've always seen that real estate has been a kind of a physical experience from a customer perspective. But of late, we are seeing a lot of investments that are happening in digital marketing from the real estate side. Should be around between 8 to 12% of the project cost? The digital marketing spend?
No, not so much. Okay. So real estate, because of the value of it, we average out marketing expense in its totality at about 5%, maximum 6%, and this also includes channel sales.
Okay.
So overall, because other industries possibly operate about 8 to 10%, but because the volumes are large over here, the values are large, so we operate at about 5 to 6% tops, and you're able to, of that, digital marketing possibly would take maybe about 40%.
About 40% of it, okay.
Because, so to be honest, digital marketing as a platform, it came up about 13, 14 years back. But real shift happened, I think, again, post-COVID, when people began using digital platforms for understanding the product before, researching about the product, the brand, the amenities, before they actually came on site.
Okay.
So that is the pivot that happened from let's say from a physical to digital, and now what do we call it? Phygital.
Right.
So that's the new nomenclature out over there.
Right.
So which is a combination of you experiencing the product, so AR, VR, all of your tools that are there, they experience at least a glimpse of it on the website or on landing pages, and get some basic information that allows them to put the product into their consideration list. So as a buyer, you need to ensure that when your buyer is in a consideration cycle of, let's say, buying a home, you need to ensure that your product comes into that. And then you start again remarketing that consumer in various ways to ensure that he reaches your site. Then the physical experience takes over. And then the stalwarts, the sales managers, they swing it.
So let me ask Amiet here, who actually gets your output from digital and converts it into cash. Okay. So what has been the ROI actually? You must be getting leads from your digital platform, and how many of those get converted actually into the deals that you get in your business?
So I would like to probably explain you the channels basically, who generate the revenue is. So 70 or 75% of the commerce is contributed by channel partners. Those are real estate agents, consultants, like advisors. So 70% of the commerce is contributed by them, and minus rest, which is your direct loyalty. So I'll consider that other channels. So again, that 75%, whatever these guys generate a business, so their 90% share is from a digital marketing. Right? Digital marketing, Meta, Google Ads, such they invest in those platforms. The ROI basically, if I have to calculate in terms of from a lead or pay per click, so from a click to a lead to a site visit, correct? So So example, like, if to quote with a market. So Andheri market is where we are generating the lead now. So the cost per lead is, say example, 5,000. So from that cost per lead, 5,000 rupees to cost per site visit, which is 5x.
Right. Okay.
Then from that 5x to cost per booking, right, from lead to booking, which is 12 to 15x.
Okay.
Right. So the lead is not like, it is very expensive affair. Right. So, and you have to ensure how you are retargeting this lead at the lead level. Correct. Now retargeting can be eyeball through developers supporting it through hoardings to random scrolling, somebody sees a meta or maybe a paper ad or something, right? Or offline mode is if you have the name and number of a client, you call the client, you keep on chasing the client in a subtle way and not bothering him much and invite him at the site. But yes, there is a lot of effort happens at the lead level to nurture the lead.
Right.
But to answer your question from a lead generation point of view to the booking, which is around 15x, is what the the revenue,
cost.
The actual cost, the acquisition cost comes to that. So that is one of the most expensive affair in terms of lead generation. There are various more probably ways to generate leads, like people buy data from the market. So that is really not so much acquisition cost is required in that. People spend on WhatsApp messaging, WhatsApp marketing, SMS marketing. People do society activities or maybe visit clubs or attend HNI events. They spend, they invest in that, and that is how because those leads will fetch you more ROI as compared to digital, because digital where there is no face value which is involved, it's just random, somebody clicks and without you visualizing who the person is and somebody's calling that lead. So a lot of effort goes in online digital lead conversion. However, where face-to-face conversion is happening, right, maybe the other modes which I spoke about, there the conversion is higher but the lead cost is less.
Right. So, but do you think digital lead generation is important, as a very important part of the channel in terms of getting into the sales cycle?
100%.
So right from your creating a prospect to your revenue generation.
Yes.
So it would help you bring up the upper end of the funnel, right?
Yes.
Okay. So here, Deepti, if we say yes, around 30%, like you said, the sales would, the lead would get nurtured and come in from digital marketing. So one of the things that we put in marketing is the kind of content or the stories that we tell across. Various channels Amiet explained here, that channel sales, your SMS, WhatsApp, Facebook, social media, the print ads, the hoardings that go in. What is the kind of stories that you would like certain customers to hear, or what are certain points which generally hit the target?
So, like we all know that marketing is all about integrated marketing communications. So there is not one medium that you can fully invest in and try to get the desired results. So your storytell has to complete an end-to-end journey. So something which we possibly all are learning in terms of what is OTS, what is my opportunity to see. So how do I map a mind mapping of the consumer from the time he wakes up till the time he goes back? All of these customer touch points need to be met so that there is a recall, and that kind of is set in his mind, so that he takes that first call to action, he does that first moving, and then there is always going to be the pull and push. It works together. So the communication, which is like omni-channel, offline, online, digital, offline, whatever you look at it, ATL, BTL, all these terminologies work absolutely in consensus, and they have to be taken into account for every campaign that you do, big or small. Your allocation should be in such a way that you use all customer touch points, and communication should be standardized across. So there shouldn't be any disjointment, there shouldn't be any disconnect between what I am seeing in my digital platform vis-a-vis what I'm seeing in a print ad. And most important, when I go to site, that entire promise needs to continue, because that's where there is trust. I cannot have two different schemes running, or I can't have a different communication across platforms.
So consistency in terms of the brand, the messaging that is going on for each and every project, that reflects the entire story.
Absolutely.
And yes, I would definitely put into the fact the unique buying proposition that needs to be a part of that message, right? considering again various touch points even that you mentioned and the interactions that you have across the customer cycle, buying cycle, how do you manage to integrate all of these? Is there some kind of back office which actually funnels the customer information and gets through? I'm very curious to hear, whenever I scroll a particular ad on real estate, within 10 minutes I get a call that yes, are you looking for a property? Okay. And then it is like a persuasion, you get a channel partner in and get in. So how is this all integrated? How does this all work together?
So, again, it's always integrated in terms of the CRM to softwares, online and offline both. So the moment I'll just explain to the moment you click on the lead, right? So within few seconds, right, you get a call from the pre-sales, because that is integrated to the CRM model of a channel partner or a developer, where the pre-sales team sits,
right,
or for a channel partner where his team operates or services this lead.
Okay.
Right? That's one. Now, when the lead is punched in the system, basic information is taken location, price, budget, because you have already seen an X ad or a developer's project, you are inquiring about that.
Right.
So you'll have a basic discussion around this is the price, these are the payment schedule, and you'll land up the site visit, right? The moment that client visit the site, right, the rest of the information, when I say rest of the information, is his demographics, right? So his maybe your business or your profession data is captured at the site level,
right,
at the developer's office, right? And his contact details, again, email IDs, and all these details are captured. And once, the closing manager or the site manager meets the client, after he leaves, so you have balance of the information, how many family members, right? Where exactly he's staying, why is he moving in that particular location. Example, if somebody is moving from, say, north to south, so what is the aspiration or inspiration for a person to move from north to south?
Correct.
Is it his business is over there, or maybe he's seeing a value, or he want to shift or upgrade, he want to change his location in terms of social status. So all these information is captured at the site level.
Right.
So it becomes very much easy then to have that interaction with the client, because you have data which is backed up now. You have a relationship which is again at the site level,
right,
and that is where do a consultative selling, that
right,
you don't sell, right, you educate a client, right?
Right.
If many of the times a good salesperson will do that. If somebody has an office, say example in north, and he wants to shift in, say, south, so what is that reason, sir?
Right, sir.
You have your ecosystem, everything, schooling, based out of here. So what is that one thing or that one trigger point that you want to move towards that side?
Right.
Maybe he had that one compelling reason is I want that address,
right,
location, right?
Correct.
Maybe that, but the people are okay to take that call for that one compelling reason.
Correct.
So that helps us at the site level, because when we interact with the client, so that is where we get a lot of data in terms of interacting with the client.
Right. So awesome journey that customer goes through right up to the conversion. And I think again I'm bringing this unique buyer proposition and a word that you mentioned, relations. Okay. Without the relationship, you would not be able to convert, right? And one of the very important component of relationship is trust.
Absolutely.
So as a marketer, Deepti, how do you induce that trust in the consumer or a prospective consumer that you have?
So trust, there is that whole thing, we will go back to the brand.
Okay.
We will always go back to testimonials, because today, for example, any e-commerce business, if you're shopping on Amazon, the first thing that you will see is what is a review, because sometimes it's easier for us to trust a fellow buyer, okay, who's had the experience, and then possibly you may make your buying decision. So here as well, we create community building activities that allows us to have word of mouth is the best publicity. So that allows us to create content where the customer testimonials help us. And it's not into the face, like you're saying, it's not a hard sell. You can't really hard sell real estate, considering the values, the high involvement decision making that this is. So very subtly you put across branding that will speak about the legacy, customer testimonials that allow you to reiterate the fact that we've been in the business for so long, we've got people backing us up, so whether it could be let's say endorsements from financial institutions,
okay,
it could be the architects, it could be then your customers. All of them create a great talking point for a developer that allows the trust factor to keep building on.
Right.
And of course, then the story to tell is going to be essentially the product and the legacy that you've had.
Yeah.
All of that is a storytell that makes consumers believe that you're tying up with a great brand.
Right. So the brand of the organization, the endorsements that are happening from the financial services side, as well as the personas that are getting associated with the product altogether. Amiet, any kind of certifications or licenses that generally promote this kind of trust in the customer?
In terms of, I would say legacy A speaks about the family name, right? As mentioned by Ms. Nair is where your family name, the projects are, if you see any project, the family name is first and followed by the project name. So
Right.
that itself builds a strong trust, a loyalty is built, right? Because when somebody is using, the brand is using a surname first, right?
Mm.
Their name. So it says everything, there is no compromise, there is zero scope of error,
Right.
number one. Number two, in terms of why it is very important in terms of legacy, because that gives a comfort, timely delivery, certain DNAs follow developers, as we follow height, light, ventilation.
Right.
So when it comes to a brand name, so these are the three major points which will never compromise. Any project you go, so you'll find height, light, ventilation in their projects.
Right.
So our brand custodian, our existing clients, loyalty clients, the word of mouth is so strong because they endorse for for a developer.
Correct.
So as mentioned, testimonies are important, right? At every level or every touch point, sales team is again a brand custodian, right?
Right.
Because whenever client comes and sees us and interact with us, so that is where he back then go home and take an impression, okay, so brand recall is I met XYZ at this particular brand, so this brands resonate what they are saying. So it is very important, from brand, what the communication is going out in the market, A, and what experience he is getting. So are these two matching
Right.
in line with what a legacy is saying? Like when we say about loyalty, construction, the moment somebody comes and sees the site, construction site, right, there are certain things which sales team or we don't speak about, but client observes,
Right.
So he sees how the workers are,
Right.
what kind of a grade of quality cement they are using. They never tell us, but they observe what kind of a steel they are using it, they just go peek in and they just see, okay, what they are saying in their communication is what they are on their point or on their foot, basically.
Right.
Basically.
Right. So essentially, again, building the trust, being transparent altogether, and we talked of brand and legacy here. A lot of transitioning happening in terms of the statutory policies and laws that are changing here. How are actually the brands keeping up or leveraging, rather, I would say, these particular changes that are happening? So, Deepti ma'am, over to you once.
So I guess I think it was 2016 when RERA came into place. That was a monumental change in our industry. That kind of essentially, differentiated the men from the boys and helped us keep all your fly-by-night operators away from system, and only branded players are now there. So that RERA certification came up as a very important landmark judgment, and I think that has continued. Of all the Mahareras, I mean, of all the RERAs, Maharera I think is the most stringent one. And all developers, in terms of, it's not only certification of the product, but it's the timeline that needs to be maintained. There's also a construction schedule that is uploaded, so they also see there's a quarterly update that's happening over there. What is sold, unsold goes up on RERA, along with all the certifications of cross your CCs, IODs, all of those approvals are put up. So a consumer, before taking that final decision, can actually independently verify what is being experienced, explained by the sales manager or the team at site. So you're doing your own verification, your own investigations regarding the developer, because all of his history is also recorded, what kind of journey he has had, what area he has developed, when was the inception. So you are making an informed decision along with all the data which has been provided to you. even the amenities are jotted down over there.
Right.
So what you may, as a developer, may want to give something more, but what is mandated has to be given. So it's very strict, and I think from a consumer standpoint, it's one of the best things that came about. The other certifications, like you were asking about, I think if you're doing a green building, so then you have the IGBC, you have your LEED certifications, all of those, or I think GRESB, which is another very, very popular certification in case you're doing green buildings. All of those help to again validate what the marketer or the sales manager is actually putting across to consumers, saying that this is what you're getting, and this has been, these consultants help you during the entire journey of the project to ensure that you don't deviate, whether it's materials, the processes, all of that is complied to.
Right.
So that really helps.
Right. So largely, again, promoting transparency, where you have given the customer, the government has given the customer a complete visibility into how the project has been or is going to be, or what the customer is going to get as the end product.
Correct.
Right. Amiet, any policies that the government has come up with? We're seeing that in Mumbai especially, the redevelopment is at the highest stage right now. Any policies that the government has come up with to enable the transitioning from the old to the new redevelopment projects? If you can share some insights.
So there are many. So one is cluster development. So you see a lot of Bombay is more of a slum, if you see, right? Now, so slum, you see a huge scope of area where the developments will happen. But before slum, there is redevelopment.
Right.
So in redevelopment, again, there is this norm, like, if, say, example, if you want to do a cluster, when I say cluster, so you have your own building, an adjacent building, both neighboring buildings put together, you make one cluster, which is more than 4,000 square meter. You go for a cluster redevelopment where you get an extra incentive in terms of FSI, space, you go vertical high. And the premiums are comparatively lesser in terms of if you do SRA versus cluster.
Right.
So, yes, to answer that question, cluster development is happening in terms of development. But again, where the calculations start is at the drawing board at the developer's office. Now, how? There are certain clusters or certain areas where the cluster development is not viable. So, example, when I say viable is, say there are certain funnel zone, right? From, if you go to from Ville Parle or Juhu or Andheri for that matter up till your Bandra, so you will not go vertically high. So there the project is not viable in terms of, like, the cluster development. But if you go towards south of Bombay, so there is no funnel area which comes into a picture,
Right.
and there the cluster incentive is higher. So when I say higher, like, when I was with my previous company, so we were building like the tallest 300 meters tall.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So 300 meters, we're talking about 300 meters.
Oh.
The tallest at this point in time is standing at, I think so, 309 or 3010,
Okay.
which is in south of Bombay. But the tallest tower in western suburbs, which is around, what, 240 odd meters,
Okay.
the highest. So this is where, like, difference comes.
Correct.
Because we do not have that scope here because of the airport, like, the restrictions. But however, yes, SRA is the second scheme. Like, there are certain schemes, 33.7, 33.11,
Okay.
then 33.12B. So these schemes help a developer, if he qualifies this particular project in, say, SRA redevelopment scheme or Mahada redevelopment scheme.
Okay.
So they get an extra FSI to the tune of like 30%, 40% extra by paying a lesser premium.
Okay.
So then it becomes viable for a developer where he can construct more. He can keep that price at a, like, a kind of a affordable pricing, I would say. And that is where he will also make profit, and he will also construct and give it to the SRA building, where the norm is, like, you have to build for them first, then your approvals are linked or subject to their construction.
Right. So, Amiet, here for the larger audience here who are hearing us today, one very common word that's used in development is FSI. What is that concept? Can you just briefly explain to us what is the FSI concept?
So, in layman term, which is, I'll make it very simple to make understand is, so FSI is extra area, right? The full form is, like, floor space index, but very simple, like, if you have, say, like 1,000 kind of a carpet area, right?
Okay.
But to get extra FSI, the most important is the road width.
Okay.
That is very, very important. If you have a road width of more than 9 meters, 12 meters, 18 meters, then your FSI is linked to the road width.
Okay.
So example, if a road width FSI in western suburbs, right? If it is more than say 12 meters or 18 meters, so you get 2.25 as an extra. 2.25 to 2.5 is the basic FSI that you get. Right? If you want more FSI, then you purchase TDR, transfer development rights.
Okay.
If an ex-developer has that extra space left with him, so he can sell it to you. You have to buy a premium to get that extra FSI if the permutation is there on your development.
Right.
So these are the ways where you can increase and you can go vertically high.
Right.
So western suburbs, the FSI calculation is different. If you go towards South Bombay, the FSI calculation is different over there.
Right.
So example, the same road width in western suburbs versus your South Bombay. So there you will get 0.25 or the 0.5 extra FSI.
Right.
Because of the road width, and also there is no funnel calculation or the radar.
Okay.
Calculation comes into a picture. So it is very simple, how tall can I build? It only and only the number one important criteria is your road width and your zone.
Right.
So western zone has minimum you can construct without taking approval or paying premium 2.5 to 2.5.
Right.
There are various calculations. I'll just round off, easy to remember. And if you go towards south of Bombay, so there it is between 2.75 to 3.
3. Okay.
So it's basic. And if you want to construct more, right, then you have to buy. So how do you buy? TDR is where you buy, you go vertical high.
Right. Thank you, Amiet, for that. Definitely, it clears the concept much more. And here, one of the channels which you both mentioned, the channel sales partner, 70% of your revenue or the leads that get generated. How do these channel partners operate? Are they exclusive, or they are have multiple offerings in their belt, or how does it happen? How do you deal with the channel partners altogether?
So channel partner, again, these are agents. How I'll just explain after RERA how the things have changed.
Okay.
Right now, real estate was unorganized sector before 16, and that is how the industries have evolved. So when I say insurance,
right,
up till 2006 unorganized. IIDA came into picture, organized. There was a regulator.
Right.
RBI regulating bank. So there was no regulator who was regulating the real estate.
Right.
RERA came into picture, and they started regulating the developers then to channel partner now that we are seeing.
Correct.
So a channel partner should have a certificate.
Okay.
Right. He should pass out. He should have a certificate, and then only he is eligible to promote, market, sell an XYZ project. So it is mandatory now. Right. Now, these partners operate from different zone, different market, Western, Central, South Bombay, and they are old, first generation, second generation, or third generation into the business. But you are seeing a lot of evolvement happening, a first generation real estate channel partners coming into the picture after RERA.
Right.
Now, why? Because this is considered to be a professional, kind of a industry after RERA, because somebody is regulating now the norms, right? Before 16, the confidence of the consumers were very less to invest into a real estate product, any real estate, any brand, because people were leveraging back then, because there was no transparency. Kabhi banega, right? People were promising 5 years and it took 10 years, right? So these were the challenges. Now with RERA, everything is in black and white, possession timeline, the penalties are paid. If without RERA somebody is marketing your project, be it channel partner, he is also penalized.
Okay.
So developer also calls and stops that channel partner or marketing partner to stop the activity, because both will get penalized, right? So the structured approach have come into the concept, and these channel partners again, however, they are neutral party, correct? They see an opportunity with X developer, X project, X location, and they market.
Right.
And how developer does it, the occasion is launch, maybe a new launch, land parcel launch. That is where the channel partner puts his heart, soul, energy. It is kind of a launching something very new.
Correct.
So you will see majority of the people participating in new launches.
Right.
And when it comes to sustenance sale, nobody wants to be part of that sustenance.
Right.
Right. Only the micro market partner will be active in that sustenance sale.
Correct.
Because it is just very
Right.
limited reach to him in terms of the project. And rest of the partners from other market, they'll see that opportunity, they'll generate lead sitting from say like any part of the world
Right.
digitally, right? And align that lead to the sales team
Okay.
at the developer side.
Directly on the sales side.
Absolutely. So digital platform, somebody gets the lead, align that lead at the site that they will take care of the lead, the client, the consumer. When revisit happens, the fellow channel partner comes and introduce himself as a partner. He sits, he shake hand, and he try and understand what the requirement is of a client. So example if he's sitting at a developer's office and he see his requirement will be not matched with this particular developer, then he offers something which is B and C.
Okay.
He start his consultative selling because he already has a lead.
Correct.
And he will look for his conversion.
Correct.
Right. So that is where he come into picture and he educate the client in terms of where his budget, his requirement will fit in the best as per the payment and various aspects taken care of.
Right. So seems to be a very competitive kind of channel. So again, from a marketing side of things, how do you actually ensure that there is a strategy to acquire the right channel partner and retain them, I would say?
It's an excellent question. In fact, to add to what my colleague was saying, channel partners, actually now what you traditionally called as brokers, they're no longer brokers. They're channel partners, they're business partners, they're actually partners to marketing. And to marketing, they're also your competition, because traditionally channel partners or brokers would actually use their network to sell within their network, and that's how they would become influencing factors to get sales. But as competition increased and as with the digital coming into play, it's now almost seamless and fluid. So he's doing exactly what a marketer does, goes out, sources leads and converts them. So he has an equal amount of influence that a marketer or a sales manager has, and he has it on the customer as well.
Right.
For him, now the brand, I think, is agnostic. He's just going to pull a lead and he's going to sell a product to him.
Right.
Now, as a marketer or possibly as a brand sales manager, as we're all one team, we are actually coaxing him, influencing him with incentives. There are additional, so you have brands, actually brokers who are on AOPs with developers. So they are not working on a retail 1-2. They're actually contributing at a business level. So they will have like 100 crore deal value with them, that they will have all the products of the developers and bringing in that kind of revenue, maybe annually or half yearly. So you will have at least 4 or 5 of these institutional channel partners who are a part of your sales and marketing team, getting that done for you.
Right.
And they work on an incentive program. So you achieve this, you get this plus something.
Right.
So there is a lot of coaxing and incentivizing these set of they are our internal customers now. So we engage with them considerably and take them out, abroad trips,
Right.
to ensure that there is a certain amount of affinity they continue to have with the brand. So it's a tough competition to keep them on your side.
So there must be a dedicated kind of role associated with sourcing of channel partners altogether.
Absolutely. So we have a sourcing, most companies have, there's a marketing team, there's a closing team, there's a sourcing team, which possibly could be a hybrid role. And they go out and again, see, a lot of channel partners are coming into. So you have channel partners who work in the primary and secondary market. Now we are possibly the primary market.
Right.
So where the certifications and all of that are important.
Right.
So you're looking at those channel partners as in they come into the system, get them, enroll them, let them know about all the products, you have to make them your sales managers. They need to know about the brand. They need to be convinced that because they are also accountable to the customer. So they need to know as much as we know, and that minimum product knowledge is extremely essential from them as well.
Okay.
So there are a lot of training sessions that we have for them with regards to brand, product, what kind of materials are being used. All of that allows them to become a very important cog in the wheel when we have conversions. So because they're extremely important.
So again, we went through the entire journey, right from creating the lead to the sale and the number of stakeholders that are involved here. Right. Last one word on real estate 5.0. What would that mean to you, Amiet?
One word: opportunity.
An opportunity for the real estate, and what would that include?
Still, as I mentioned, the numbers are backing. We are seeing that growth, which, because infrastructure so far, have just started half a decade ago.
Right.
Now we are yet to see all these infrastructure coming into a picture, because your commutation or maybe your infrastructure creates value, right? We are yet to see that value in real estate.
Okay.
Right. And all this development, whatever the government is doing, investing in terms of your majorly infrastructure. If you see the budget, their infrastructure and defense is the primary goal.
Right.
And any country that you see, for that matter, Dubai or any country, they invest heavily on infrastructure.
Yes.
And we have started just a decade ago.
Right.
And still there are many good developments yet to be live or functional.
Right.
And people want to use it. Now I'll just back it up with one of the latest data is coastal connectivity for a Bombay.
Right.
Now it is so superb, so smooth. Now when we used to travel, or I used to travel to Nariman Point from say Worli, so I used to take 1 hour
Right.
from Worli to go to Nariman Point. While coming, I used to take 1 hour 15 minutes.
Right.
From Haji Ali at
Correct.
Pedder Road, and I used to see Pedder Road lena hai, ya fir you have to take that Girgaon Chowpatty.
Right.
Now flat 20 minutes I am at Nariman Point. Right. Now because of that shift, save in time, the price for the Worli has appreciated,
Right.
which was during COVID 50,000, 60,000 to 1 lakh rupees now.
Wow.
And the coastal, this is just the part one. Now coastal will get extended towards your Bandra, Juhu, Andheri, right? Then your Borivali
Right.
will go up till Virar.
Right.
So this, I'm talking about the Bombay belt.
Right.
Then we are talking about Bombay to Delhi connectivity,
Right.
which is just due in 1 year.
Right.
Then bullet train, we're talking about bullet train.
Right.
Because everything is revolving around financial capital of India.
Correct.
So that is where you will see a shift. Bombay, yes, a very huge scope of market. There are tier 2, tier 3 cities, and there are other states, Hyderabad, Bangalore for that matter. But Bombay, because of Bollywood, and because of financial capital,
Right.
we get a global exposure.
Right.
And everybody want to be part of Bombay.
Bombay.
एक घर तो बॉम्बे में होना है.
Right.
In Mumbai, or maybe Navi Mumbai or in Thane.
Right.
So there has to be one home in Bombay.
Right.
So that is how people are eyeing now one office, one apartment or one home in Bombay, maybe a second home. So NRS for that matter, why they are increasing their participation? Because in last 1 decade, people have seen those challenges in terms of war or maybe in terms of COVID shift, when people were unable to come back and do the last ritual.
Right.
It was so difficult, right?
Right.
But somewhere or the other they are realizing importance of being staying where their roots are.
Right.
So at least they should have something which is taken care of.
Right.
Where the policies are getting stricter,
Right.
globally. But again, there is an Indian, you cannot remove India from an Indian.
Yes.
So that is where people want to be part of India and India Bombay, because again of the global presence that you are getting, Bollywood, and all thanks to the financial capital.
So at least one home in Mumbai, right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
what's your view on that, Deepti, on real estate 5.0?
I think I'll go a little softer.
Yeah.
I think I'll go with experience.
Okay.
Because typically real estate, when you initially speak about it, the first thing that comes to your mind is brick and mortar. It's like the hardscape of it. But actually, it's always you are dealing with humans, and that roti kapda makan, this is one of the most basic things. And today a lot of your consumers are going to put in their life savings.
Right.
On an average, I think a consumer is going to buy a house not more than 2 times on an average. So if there are a lot of your consumers who are on their first purchase, they'll never forget how you make them feel.
Right.
And that experience that you can give them, that hand holding that you can give them, there has been a big shift from, I think I joined this industry somewhere around 2008, from that time to where we are now. There's been a monumental change in the way we are dealing with our consumers.
Right.
There are grievances, how those grievances are being addressed, all of those, it's not that high-handedness, जैसे पिक्चरों में कैसे दिखाते थे ना, builder, वैसा नहीं है. Today they are very, very connected to the consumer. They understand what their needs are. We're getting to the softer side of it. And experience is most important. So today, why do you go to a Taj? Why does that namaste mean so much to you? So hospitality, that piece of experience we're wanting to bring into real estate, and whether it is through our digital experiences, whether it is through our physical experiences they have at our site, head offices, all of those softer parts of it is eventually going to make a consumer come to you and stay with you.
Right. So the actual experience aspect, one house in Mumbai, and also the relationship as well as the unique buyer proposition. Lots of scope, 9.2 CAGR, it's huge, and 9,000 lakh crore is the market that is in place. In Thakur Global Business School, real estate has been the second largest recruiter. I would request you to share your 2 cents on what the students pursuing the PGDM program in Thakur Global Business School should equip themselves to enter into the real estate industry. I'll start with Amiet here.
Real estate is very simple, easy, because you as I always say, this is one of the most expensive investment affair that a person does in his career. As Ms. Nair mentioned, twice in life journey, in that 50-60 years, people will buy 2 times or maybe flip 2 times the real estate investment. But that is your heart, soul, everything is put into the buying that asset. When we see when we see parents who have bought the real estate, right, they sold their ornaments and they bought their property. This is so emotionally still remains that emotional decision in terms of buying a real estate, right? So how can we connect, help, enable, right, in terms of helping them, in terms of, again, as mentioned by Ms. Nair, softer aspect,
Right.
Giving that experience, right? All that helping, enabling in terms of their experience, that is very important. Maybe soft skills,
Right.
when somebody is coming at our side, not to sell, right, to consult anybody. Sales ka pressure target will be there, right, but still keeping that aside and helping somebody, okay, this is not the product for you, maybe XYZ, which is very difficult,
Correct.
right, but you have to take that call,
Right.
right? So that is one, maybe consultative selling.
Okay.
You don't sell, right? Again, I repeat,
Right.
you don't sell, you consult.
Right.
Okay, this is better for you or this is better for you. Automatically the sale will happen.
Correct.
This is what which is lacking, which I see a huge scope of improvement. Again, B, which is in terms of digital knowledge, where people do not understand that digital marketing, how it functions. There is a huge scope, because again, at a developer side, or maybe a channel partner side, that is a pain point.
Right.
When I say, because cost to cost per booking,
Right.
it is a very expensive affair over there. So how can we reduce or save, if there is a pain, how can we gain in terms of reducing this cost?
Correct.
What are the ways, how can we reduce this online cost? This is a huge scope for from a developer side, if you are able to crack this code,
Right.
in terms of lead sourcing,
Right.
how can you bring down this cost?
Right.
So I see a merit, maybe the team need to invest a lot of, because the current generation is blessed with phone.
Right.
They are born with phone,
Right.
right? Not a silver spoon, with phones now. So they are more educated than us.
Right.
So every information is available online. TVs are getting replaced now with mobile phones. So world is on phone now. So how can you enable real estate transaction to be there on the phone? How can you penetrate their phone?
Right.
And that is where very important is cost per lead,
Right.
or maybe to acquisition cost. In nutshell, how can you reduce the acquisition cost for a developer or for a partner or anybody?
Right.
That is the code if you are able to crack. And the physical side, when somebody comes at the site,
Right.
If somebody wants to be part of the sales, client facing.
Right.
So how can you, with your soft skills, or maybe how can you be a consultative person in terms of taking that call, helping, suggesting somebody to take such calls, and not thinking of ke bechna hai inko, or I have to close this deal.
So-
You have to invest in the relationship, because
Correct.
that will fructify.
Correct. So like consultative selling as a trusted advisor, and also on the digital skills front. So these are two main important, and I think the scope which you mentioned, if the cost is 15x, that means there is enough scope to reduce, and that is where you can see digital coming into the fore more often. Yes, Deepti ma'am, your views on what skills should be developed by the students?
I think going forward, there's no doubt digital is going to intensify considerably. investing a lot into AI, understanding what tools can be used to simplify the work that you're going to do. What is not, what is kind of regular, you can, literally chat GPT kind of a thing. So try to use automation as much as possible to make your life easier. What AI cannot do is what humans can do is understand consumers. So invest your time in when you're out there to meet customers, because that first-hand information is what will allow you to really become a good marketer, to understand customer insights. Do research. Anything before you start. There is something which, I like that fanboy is kind of an acronym, which is RASTPMMEC, which is start with research, you analyze, you segment, you target, you position, you have your correct marketing mix, you do your execution, and you do a control mechanism. This is literally your marketing in a fanboy's kind of a way, and you need to ensure that this is going to be your foundation forever and ever. Marketing, this principle, I don't think is going to change for a long time. You're an academician, so I'm not sure. So this is the foundation. Ensure that you use this, because sometimes what we study, we forget when we're executing, when we are actually doing our work.
Right.
But this principle must not change.
Right.
Keep enhancing. Digital will change.
So definitely, digital tools and all you'll be having, but definitely the softer side, both of you have said, and that comes by meeting the customer.
Yes.
Getting to know the vibe, I would say in the Gen Z parlance, knowing the vibe of the customer, and then you can actually get the unique business proposition. So fantastic. Thank you very much for this amazing and fantastic conversation that we are having. And thank you very much for the insights today. Thank you, Amiet, and thank you, Deepti. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. And we'll be coming up with the Marketing Chronicles Season 3 with such wonderful insights from trending industries once again. Hoping to have you join in soon. Thank you. Thank you so much.